Welcome everybody into today's podcast. My name is Oliver Nshom, and today we're going to be looking at red flags you need to watch out for as you grow your professional speaking career. As a professional speaker, your voice can open incredible opportunities for you as well as it can close them forever. So you need to be careful the way you go about using your voice, the way you go about with your business, because one mistake you do can ruin everything that you have been working for for the past years. And in today's session, I'm going to be discussing with you 5 red flags that you need to watch out for as you build your professional speaking career. And if you are ignoring these red flags, you are doing that at your risk. And remember, that can destroy your entire career. And so, if you're ready to go with me on this journey, congratulations. I invite you right now because I know you're on your phones, behind your phone screens, you go behind your desktop or the laptop screen. And what that means to me is that you are ready to go. And so, it's going to be succinct, brief, straight to the point, and you wouldn't be able to take much of your time for this particular episode. And again, if you are actually watching live, I encourage you to stay. In the next few minutes, we're going to be done. And so, before we kick off, kindly let me know which platform are you watching us from. Is it Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube? Indicate on the chat box, and also the country you are watching us from. And so, immediately the first red flag you need to watch out for is ignoring your branding. I want someone to write that down. Write it down. Ignoring your branding. That's one of the big red flags you need to watch out for as a professional speaker. Don't ignore your brand. Now, I know you'll be asking me, Oliver, what is a brand? You must have heard of 1,000 definitions for a brand, but branding has so much to do with your everyday life, your everyday activities, how you show up, how people see you, how people perceive you, both in your household, outside your household, in your office environment. How do people perceive you? The question is, are you always late for meetings? Are you always sarcastic? What do people think about you? That becomes your branding, because your brand is what people think about you. What are people saying about you? What are the things people are saying when you're not there with them? It's your branding. And that's so powerful. Knowing that the professional speaking industry is a relationship business, it means that you can't ignore what people think about you. And so you need to be careful with what people say about you. I understand that to an extent, people can at times always say some negative things about you. But again, even if they are saying those negative things about you, let the things they are saying about you not be true. So if they have to say at all negative things about you as a speaker, as a professional speaker, as a public speaker, let the things they're saying about you not be true than the things to be true. And so you must own your brand. Thank you, Rosemary Ibi Joko, joining from LinkedIn. Pretty good. And from the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Beautiful. Lovely. Thank you so much for joining us. So you don't have to ignore your branding. You have to work so hard on your branding. And again, that has so much to do with your reputation, your integrity, leading by example. Hey, let me be honest with you. As speakers, we are more like in a business where some people call it the show business. It means that you are highly known out there, and you're highly recognizable out there. And that is why you have to be careful when you buy that candy, where you are throwing those papers as you're walking in the street, as you are in the supermarket shopping, where you are throwing those dirt, where you are, blowing your nose. All of that matters. And what that means is that people are watching you. And I remember the story, a story I heard some years ago, an African story. how a speaker who was to speak in the conference arrived the country where he was speaking, and he took a bus. Right inside that bus, something happened, and the speaker reacted. Little did the speaker know that there were people in that bus that were going to be attending his conference. Behold, the next day, the speaker was on the stage. And guess what? Some of the people that were in the bus, they recognized the speaker. And good enough, the speaker did not say something that was artful or weird. And that is how they reconnected with the speaker. And that was amazing. Now, come to think about it this way, if the speaker messed up, if the comment he was making inside the bus were sarcastic, were weird comment, what could have become of the perception of the people watching at the speaker straight away? Let me not even go further. One of my coaches in Africa, Cameroon particularly, shared a story where he was invited to do a keynote in a particular conference. I think it was in the church. And the day he arrived, early in the morning, he came right there where the event was to take place. And guess what? He volunteered to mop to keep the place clean. So the chairs needed to be wiped, the place needed to be kept clean. And so he was volunteering. And those people who were together with him doing all of that, some of them took the knew that he was just one of the volunteers that were there to do the work. They had no idea that this gentleman was going to be the speaker of the day. And because they couldn't have expected the speaker of the day to come in to assist in cleaning the chairs, in keeping the environment clean before the event could begin. And guess what? When everybody came and when they introduced the speaker of the day, guess what? Who came on the stage to speak? It was the gentleman who assisted in cleaning and in keeping the place neat and in good shape early in the morning. And immediately he was there on the stage to start his presentation or his talk. Guess what? Those people that they were assisting together with him early in the morning to keep the place clean and clean the place, guess what? They were so overwhelmed and they saw the humility of that speaker. And before the speaker could be speaking, guess what? He had already spoken to those people who were cleaning together with him in the morning. And that's what I'm talking about. People are watching at you in your closet, outside in the street, wherever you go, people are watching at you. So you can't ignore that. You have to be careful how you live your life, the things you say, how you dress up, where you show up. People are watching at you. And I know you'll be asking, like, Oliver, what do you mean by people are watching? I mean that as your picture is going on flyers, on billboard, on, on, on advertisement platforms on the internet, as your pictures are floating around the internet, flying everywhere, people are seeing you and they're noticing your image, they're noticing your name. And guess what? You'll not be surprised to go to South Africa and somebody like call you by name. And I had that experience. I was invited to speak in Singapore some years ago. And when I arrived in Singapore, like I've never been to Asia before. So when I arrived Asia for my speaking gig with the Asian Professional Speakers Association Singapore, one event was happening. So the Asian HR convention, international HR convention was taking place. So my host, guess what, decided to give me a treat by paying my ticket for the HR Asia event. So we went together to the event in Asia at this convention, at the Human Resource Convention in Asia. And immediately I entered the gate. I heard somebody call my name. I heard, "Hi, Oliver, how are you?" I'm like, "I'm good." Like, and so there were two ladies, and the lady was like, "You're one of the speakers for the Asian Professional Speakers conference coming up in 2 days' time." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh my gosh." I was like, "How do you know me?" And she said, "I saw you on the flyer. I saw you on the poster as they were advertising the event." I'm like, "Okay, great." So come to think about it. What if I was messing up right there where the ladies saw me? What if I was fighting and arguing or insulting somebody? What if I was throwing my candy peelings on the floor? What if I was doing something funny right there where she saw me? And it could have been a big mess. Maybe she will come now to the event, and the moment I start speaking, and she will like, I know that guy, you know, he messes up the other day. You don't want that to happen to you, my friend. So people are watching at you. You have to be careful what you say, even right in your house. You have to monitor yourself. You know, you have to monitor yourself. Even the things you think about when you're alone, they're important. So don't think about those negative things, because they will cost your life, they will cost your career. You know, as you're moving along the road, how you greet people, how you treat people, what you tell people is so important. Be watchful at the words you use. Don't use mean words, demean words. Don't undervalue people. Even the least of the kids, even the toddlers, don't do that. You have to be mindful of every action you take as a speaker, because guess what? People are watching at you, and they are looking forward for you to model what you're talking about. They are looking forward for you to actually live what you are preaching. And as a speaker, if you are not living the things you are preaching, the things you are talking about, I bet you will always have a problem with your branding. And so to me, that is branding. So branding to me as a speaker is modeling what you are speaking about, what you're preaching. That's branding, because you cannot be speaking something else and contradicting it with your lifestyle. So your lifestyle should be in synchronization to what you talk about, because there are eyebrows on you, my dear, my friend. There are eyebrows on you. So you have to be careful and watchful with your actions, with your decisions, because everything you do would either make your career as a speaker or mar your career as a speaker. So you better be watchful and careful what you say, how you work, where you put dirt as you move around, how you behave, how you talk to people, how you react to situations, because people are watching at you. And don't be that kind of speaker that when you make statement, they'll be like, even you? How could you say that? Even you, that everybody's looking up to, even you, that people are looking up to, even you who is a speaker, even you. Have you ever made a statement and somebody's like, even you? Or have you ever heard somebody spoke somewhere and make a nasty, a sarcastic comment, and people are like, even you? Don't allow the statement, even you, to happen to you. Don't allow that. That's right. Do what you preach. And again, when as a speaker, when you're doing what you preach, you don't need to advertise yourself. People will just naturally do that. People will just naturally do that. And people will just naturally talk about you, connect with you. So do what you preach. And you never know, those little efforts, those little actions, those little acts of kindness can make somebody's day. Those little acts, okay, can change somebody's life. And that's why, as a speaker, your voice can open incredible doors for you. And at the same time, your voice can close those doors forever. And so, watch out for these things. We just seen the first one. Don't ignore your brand. Lead by example. As a speaker, lead by example and watch the steps you are taking with your life. Even watch the things you tell your children. If your audience you're going to speak to hear the things you're telling your children, hear the things you're advising people to do, will you be comfortable if they hear what you're saying? The second red flag you need to watch out for is celebrate other speakers. Celebrate other speakers. I want, if you're watching right now, type on the chat box, celebrate other speakers. Right? That's so powerful. You must learn to celebrate other speakers. Don't make everything about you. That is some sort of selfishness. Like I said, I keep on saying, I'm not the one who started saying that. That is a common expression in the speakers associations around the world. The speakers business is not a one-man business. It's not a one-man show. It is a relationship business. And if you're not celebrating other speakers, they might likely not celebrate you. And so if other speakers see how you're celebrating other speakers, they would like to connect with you. And those speakers you are celebrating, they will tend to celebrate you. And what that means is that you have to innovate. One of the things that I do as a speaker, during some key events like Valentine's Day and National Speaker Celebration Day, I make sure I actually celebrate a lot of speakers. And in last Valentine, I was asking myself, who are the speakers and the coaches and the mentors that actually They have helped me to become a better version of myself. And when I was thinking, names like Charlotte came to my mind. Names like Nengeche, Dr. You know, a lot of other names, Dr. Wendy Lee, the current president of the Virtual Speakers International, you know, and many other names came to my mind. And I did a post, I wrote a post on LinkedIn acknowledging all the speakers that have contributed to my life. And they are amazing veterans, they're powerful legends. And when I did that, some of them reached out to me and they were like, "Thank you, Oliver, for mentioning me in your post. I'm grateful." Celebrate other speakers because that is the game. And that is one of the rules of the game. You have to celebrate others so that others can celebrate you. Come to think about it, if you are recommend, if that what it means is that as a speaker, if they ask you to talk about inclusion and diversity, for instance, I don't talk on inclusion and diversity. I'm resilience, I'm change and adaptability. So those are my topics. So I'm focusing on resilience, change, and adaptability. Those are my key area. And what that means is that if somebody reach out to me like, "Hey, Oliver, I'm having my upcoming events coming up in Maryland, in Virginia, in New York, in Florida," I'm like, "Will you mind to come in and talk on change and on resilience, inclusion and diversity?" I'm like, "Hey, sorry, I can't, I don't actually talk on those things. I really appreciate the fact that you reach out to me. But of course, I have X, Y, who is very good in change and other in diversity and inclusion. I have X and Y, who is really good in diversity and inclusion. Because for me, that's not my strength. But if I know somebody who is one of the best when it comes to areas on inclusion and diversity or diversity and inclusion, that is celebrating other people. And when you see a speaker who has received an award, when you see a speaker who has been promoted, who has been received his CSP, certified speakers professional, celebrate those wins. And as we begin to celebrate those wins, they will start talking about you, they will start celebrating you also. So remember, it is a relationship business and you have to master the rules of the game. Learn to celebrate others. Don't make it just about you. Let your post not only be about you, about what you do and all of that. Let other people also feel your presence, feel your impact, feel your value, even as you collaborate together. And that is, you're forming a network of supporters, a network, a synergy of people who co-support each other, and that is how success comes when it comes to this industry. Whether you like it or not, I want to assure you the speaking industry is relationship. And if you're not good at creating relationship, if you're not good at making friends and creating relationships, building a synergy of like-minded speakers who can share ideas and collaborate and refer and recommend each other, my friend, you're missing the greater part of the game. So you have to learn to celebrate other speakers and to just talk about them in some of your post, in some of your events, and even in podcasts like this, whenever you can do that. So you have to think about that. You have to think about that. And so moving forward, we're looking at the next red flag. You know, the next red flag, the next one is be professional always. Be professional always. And I know you'll be asking me, what does it mean to be professional? To be professional means when it comes to time management, you have to be top notch. The speaking business in such a way that if you can't manage your time, that can cost you everything. And so you have to do everything to always be prompt, even when it comes to responding to your emails, to your texts, to your messages, to your comments. You have to learn to be prompt because this business, now this is the point. Imagine an event planner is organizing a conference and they send you an email asking if you're available for this session. And then if you want to reply that in 2 days time or 3 days times in 1 week, man, the first person that can reply to that email, because at times they don't send email to one person, they send it to a couple of speakers, two, three, four, five. So the first person that replies, guess what? That might be the person that will get the gig. That might be the person that will get the opportunity. You don't want to waste time replying. The moment you receive a text, a message, reply very promptly. And I have been building a strong experience on replying. And that can cost you everything. And so you have to learn to be professional. You have to learn to be professional. You have to learn to be professional. And that can cost you everything. And so you have to learn to be professional. 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 And that can cost you everything. And so and I admire him. I love him so much. He is very prompt in replying. So reply when you're in aircraft. And so when it comes to replying to messages and emails, I have a system that I use in replying, and I adopted this system from one of the best coaches that have ever worked with me, and this is Michael Virandi. Michael Virandi is an amazing coach from Cyprus. So it's about the 10x, 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 10x. So the first 10 seconds, I see the text, I see the email. If I see it, I reply. Then the first 10 seconds. We have the 10 minutes now. 10 minutes. So if I'm busy, like I'm in the meeting, I'm in the podcast right now. If you send me an email or a text, whatever, I may not reply, but if I'm done in 10 minutes time, I will reply to you. And then 10 hours. 10 hours is when I'm flying. Maybe I'm flying from the US to Africa, or from the US to Asia, or from the US to Europe. That's kind of 10 hours. So if I arrived, I should reply to your mail after 10 hours. And so that's so powerful. And so if you're prompt in replying your messages, you will not believe the result of that. If you can reply messages and emails as soon as possible, as soon as possible, as soon as possible, who would not like to work with somebody who is very prompt in replying to SMS and to emails? Everybody loves to work with people who are fast, who are prompt. So if you learn to be prompt in replying to your emails, SMSs, and to all your comments on social media platforms, I bet you that alone can bring you more businesses right there in your doors. Right. So think about replying promptly. And maybe you could also adopt the 10S, 10S, 10S system of replying. 10 seconds when you see the mail, immediately in 10 seconds reply, or SMS reply in 10 seconds. If you're in a meeting right now, as I'm in the podcast, reply in 10 minutes, or if you can possibly, if you're flying and you're busy trading in a workshop, you can reply in 10 hours. So 10 seconds, 10 minutes, 10 hours. That is not my framework, but I actually learned it from Michael Virandi, one of my coaches, and it's working for me. So maybe it could also work for you. Thank you so much for joining in. Yam Angel from Facebook. Thank you for joining in. Awa Emeline. Maker from Cameroon. That's right. Do what you preach. Thank you for joining in. Amazing. Myro Samala Satumari. Yes, thank you so much for joining in. Rosemary Abby. Celebrate other speakers. So that is it. So never use. Now, when it comes to being professional, you have to manage your business. Avoid as much as possible poor business management. As a speaker, what is your communication system between you and your clients? What is the system you put to reply to your SMS, to your comments on social media platforms? Do you stay for months and weeks before you reply to these comments? I bet you that can be so boring. That can discourage the people that are working with you. So as much as possible, the question I also want to ask you, how do you capture your new clients? Do you have a system from onboarding or enrolling your clients into actually working with them and getting them in your library? Now, under this professionalism aspect of it, there is something I cannot leave this podcast today without talking about. Hey, dear speakers and coaches, please don't pressure your clients. Don't pressure people. Do not pressure your clients. Nobody loves to be pressured to do business. If somebody reach out to you, please carefully walk the person through this process. And there is a system that is so powerful that I learned from one of my teachers in public speaking. You know, it's so powerful. You wouldn't believe that. It is so powerful. This system is called enrolling your clients. Now, how do you enroll your clients? To enroll your clients, you have to have a meeting first with them to know that they are a good fit for you. It's not every client, it's not every event that's a good fit for you. So you have to know whether they are your clients that are the right fit for you. They are the good clients that you work with. Because as a speaker, you have some particular clients. You can't talk to everybody. You can't talk in every event. So you have to evaluate the clients in a fair meeting to know if they are a good fit for you. Now, if they are a good fit for you, the next thing you want to think about is, okay, what are their budgets? When is the event coming up? How much are they able to pay? When you do things, you have to take time and walk them through the process. And if they are delaying to give you the information you need, please just give them the time. You don't need to pressurize them to act faster. And when you're doing that, you're putting pressure. And when clients sense that you're already putting pressure by a lot of calls, by a lot of emails, they can turn to doubt your professionalism and your authenticity to deliver what they want. So please do everything as much as possible, not to pressure your clients, but just give them that latitude of time to respond to you within the time they can be able to, without you pressurizing them. And of course, this method is so powerful. It's a game changer, and it's called the enrolling method. So LeBron's Mark is actually the author of this book. He wrote the book with two of his other colleagues and friends. And so uh, Mark LeBlanc is actually an American professional speaker and a veteran in the industry, and he taught me this at the National Speakers Association, and it's so powerful. So I want to encourage you, even as you want to become professional in your speaking, you need to deploy the enrolling process to get clients, and never ever pressurize your clients. Just be patient with them and work on their pace. Never let them never perceive that you're putting a lot of pressure to get them to do what you're asking them to do. And second but not last, a fourth point we're looking at here is never use someone else's information. You see, when I'm talking here, anytime I bring a concept that I'm not the one who created it or who came out with a framework, I always reference the author. The first time I talk about the 10x, which is 10 seconds, 10 minutes, and 10 hours, I mentioned Michael Viranti. That was the person I learned that from. And that's so important. And again, the second time I talk about the enrollment framework or process, I mentioned LeBlanc Mark. And what that means is that, you never know who is watching at you. You never know who's listening to you. And the moment they hear that you're mentioning somebody's concept or framework without giving the person the credit that he desired, that becomes plagiarism, and you can lose trust, and your integrity is at stake. And guess what? That can ruin your career forever. I remember one of my speakers, one of my trainers at the National Speakers Association in the USA here, makes something so powerful. So powerful. He said, Oliver, you don't want to be that kind of speaker that you know very well what you talk about. You're so passionate, you're so motivated, you're fired up, in fact. But again, people are not talking well about you. And again, because it's a relationship business, you don't want to mess up. Yes, you can go ahead and ask a question. Emeline, thank you. So you can drop your question right there. So you need to you need to be so careful. You need to be so careful. You don't want to be so good, but you're breaking the rules, because if you're breaking the rules, people will realize it and they'll be talking negatively about you. Nobody will ever recommend somebody who's breaking the rules. And so what that means is that you have to do everything possible to actually never use somebody's information or material, quotes, statistics that people came out with without referencing them. That's so important. And that is mentor, and he's actually one of my trainers at National Speakers Association. And he said, Oliver, many speakers, when they're starting, especially aspiring speakers, they do the mistake of, just wanting to be good on the stage and all of that. But at times they ignore the fact that they have to work on their integrity, on their reputation, because your integrity, your reputation is everything in this industry. If you have a negative reputation, I bet you in this industry, especially when you are already into it, I bet you that can affect your entire career. So you don't want that to happen to you. So let your reputation not be at stake. And for that to happen, when you use somebody's intellectual property, please always give the person the credit. If you read something from my book, from any other person's book, you have to give the person the credit for that. You don't just have to say it like if it's yourself. It is for your good. It's for your good, because somebody could be hearing what you're saying and he knows that this word came from X or Y person. And the moment he waits for you to give credit to the person who came up with that concept and you don't, that means that you don't know what you're doing, and they will never ever get you. And that's why I say your voice can actually open incredible doors for you, or it can close those doors forever. So you have to respect every aspect of this game, every aspect of this game. And finally, we are looking at, you have to be prompt. You have to be prompt. I've talked about that. Always speak with your audience, not at them. Now, what that means is that always speak with your audience and not at them. Is that as a speaker, your job is not to speak at your audience. Your job is to speak with your audience. It means that if you're just speaking and going and going and going and going, and your audience are not following you, you are not killing it, but you are destroying it. What do I mean to speak with your audience? So go in the same pace with your audience. What that means is that as a speaker, when you're speaking and your audience are nodding their heads, and the audience are writing, and the audience are thinking and listening to you with a rapt attention, that is speaking with your audience. So by the time you're speaking and your audience are nodding their heads, and your audience are writing, and the audience are thinking and listening to you with a rapt attention, imagine as a speaker, you're speaking and the audience are yawning, and you're speaking and the audience are moving up and down, haters in the hall. That means that you are speaking at them. So you have to do everything to engage your audience so that they can listen to you with the rapt attention. And how do you know that? From their body language, you can tell if they are thinking about what you are saying, if they are smiling, if they are laughing, if they are focused, then they are listening to you. And that is speaking with your audience and not at your audience. So don't make the mistake that most beginner speakers or aspiring speakers make. They speak at the audience and they don't care whether they're listening or not. They just keep on going. No, you are not supposed to be like that, because you aren't a robot. You're a human being and you have to be flexible. And so always speak with your audience and not at your audience. So those were the 5 red flags. There are many of them. I just picked out these 5. And so I believe that if you practice these 5, I bet you your career as a speaker will skyrocket. You'll be able to elevate and grow your career to the permanent site where it's supposed to be. And so if you have a question, our Emmeline had a question. You can ask a question by dropping a comment, and I'll be glad to answer your question, Emmeline. So I've talked about 5 red flags that you should watch out for as a speaker. And the first one was ignoring your branding. I've said as a speaker, every decision, every action you take matters. It counts, because people are watching at you and people expect you to live up to what you talk about. People expect you to be a role model, to model what you're saying, and not to act in the contrary of your message. And by that, you have to live by example, because all the time, in the night, in the day, online and on-site, people are watching at you. And you don't want them to say, hey, that speaker is horrible. His actions doesn't align or resonate with what he's talking about. Number 2, celebrate other speakers and be innovative. Don't make it just about yourself. Learn to celebrate your colleagues that are winning. And number 3, we talked about be professional always and avoid poor business management. Right? Have a system for everything you do. A system for posting, a system for managing your client, a system for collecting your money or your revenues, and a system for saving, and a system for investing, and a system for managing your cash. Have a system. Now, never use somebody else's materials or information without giving the person the reference, or without giving the credit to the person that is rightfully deserving. Never do that. That can affect you negatively. And finally, we said that you have to learn how to be prompt. How to be prompt. It means that you have to always be on time, and that also has to do with you promise less and you deliver more. So don't overpromise. Don't say that my keynote will be a disruptive. It's going to be a disruptive session. You learn X, Y, Z. No, tell them that this is what you can do, and work harder to deliver more than you promised. And that is why they will come back looking for you. They will book you again and again. That was it for today. I want to appreciate in a very special way Rosemary from Nigeria. I want to appreciate our Emeline from Cameroon. I want to appreciate Myro Samala. Thank you so much. Which country are you joining? Is it Spain, Italy, or the US? Thank you so much, Kevin Emmanuel Berignon, for joining in today's podcast. So that was it. If that helps you, and you know somebody that this could also help, maybe you can share with the person. And if that was it for today, then we can call it a day. And I'm looking forward to our next podcast on Tuesday, God willing. And that was it. Um, so share with us your great takeaway. And to my very good friend, great Tamon Zedone, that happened at the same time with my classmate in middle school or secondary school and high school. Thank you for watching my very good friend Tamon Zedone, right from Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Great. Thank you so much, friend. If this could help you, share with somebody. If this makes sense to you, let me know what you learned. Even before we answer the question of our Emmeline. I dropped it already. So, what if you can't remember the person who made a statement or slogan? All right. So, how could I have gone without answering your question, Emmeline? Emilian. Now that's a good question, Emilian. Emilian's question is, what if you can't remember the person who made a statement or slogan? And of course, just in my podcast today, I wanted to quote somebody, and I did not remember the name did not come up, on my in my mind. And guess what? Along the way, as I was discussing, the name came out, and that was Dr. Germain. Dr. Germain is one of my trainers at National Speakers Association USA, and he is a veteran speaker, very good mentor and coach. So he told me that Oliver, one of the things that we I will caution you to avoid, and to any other aspiring speaker, especially in the US, is you know you have to work hard on your reputation, on your integrity, because you can be the best. You can be the best in the industry, but if people don't trust you, if they don't, if you don't have a good reputation, they will not recommend you, and you will not have business. And so what I did is that I just made the statement, and I said it was not my statement. So I kept on going. So once my mind brought back the name, so I able to mention. So Emilian, you have to be vulnerable. You know, one of the things, good qualities of a speaker is vulnerability. So we are not robots. So if you want to mention somebody's name and the name does not come to your mind, you can tell the audience, well, the name of the author has not come to my mind, but hopefully as we go, it will come. But even if you end up not remembering the name, remember that you did not say it was you saying that. At least you could say anonymous in case you cannot record the name of the person. It could be that somebody's somewhere said that, before the person said that. So if at all you don't know the name of the person that came up with that particular soundbite, that particular expression, you could say anonymous, someone anonymous. Or you say someone very influential and successful said this. You could say something like a great a great person once said. That's the those are still synonyms to anonymous. So it's either you say anonymous, you say a great person once said this, or you can say someone very successful in this industry and highly influential once said this. So think about those various ways to play around when you miss out the name of the person, because there are two things: it's either you knew the name and you forgot at the time you're talking about it, or you don't know the name at all. So if you knew the name and you forget, you can tell the audience that, hey, the name is not coming up in my mind, but if it comes out, I will share with you. And if you never knew the name, you could say someone anonymous. If that is just to keep yourself safe, because if you don't say that, the people might sound like it could be that they have heard the statement before, and so you are not referring the person, so they will nail you on that point, and that can ruin your career. I hope my answer helped. So Emmeline, let me know if you got my answer and that helps you. Any other question? I'll be glad to answer one or two questions before I close the curtains of this conversation for today's postcard, Walking the Work with Oliver Nshom. Any other question? Okay, great. Great. LinkedIn is doing well. We have most of our um, attendees from LinkedIn, and that was it, friends. Fantastic. It was nice time with you. Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Perfectly understood now. Great job, Emily. Our Emilian. Great job, Mega. Meha. Awesome. So that was it. If you have any other question, you can drop it. If I happen to get back even after the live session, I'll be glad to answer your questions. Thank you, KJB. Thank you, my brother. Kevin is my dear friend and brother from the state of from a very famous state here in the US. And Emmeline, your question just caught me. You know, Georgia. So Kevin is from the state of Georgia, and he has been a great support to my work here in the US, and I really appreciate his support and push. Uh, Georgia, yeah, I got it, Kay. Thank you so much. Same here. Okay, thank you, my dear bro Tamong Zedone. Oh, I'm so grateful to have brothers like Tamong Zedone and Kevin who always join in to support this show. God bless you, and we look forward to celebrating each other friends and to have sisters like our, and amazing ones from Nigeria who always show up to support this show. Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you, our Rosemary Myro Samala, and of course to Yam Angel from Facebook, Rosemary from the Federal Republic of Nigeria. What a family! I feel like I am a brother, and we are brothers and sisters in this beautiful family. Um, so that was it for today, and today's session was so exciting, and I feel like not ending, but sorry guys, I have to end now and move to the next thing on my agenda for today. And I'll look forward to see you on Tuesday, same time. Make sure you don't come alone, and let's keep on learning. So on Tuesday, I'm going to be talking about something very exciting, and I want to keep it as a surprise for you. My name is Oliver Nshom. I'm your friend, I'm your brother, and I'm your coach, I'm your mentor in public speaking, and of course, I am your trainer. Yeah, if you are looking for paid speaking gigs, both nationally and internationally, woo, let's rock it. And guess what? On the 30th of March here in Minnesota, we are going to be launching Talks. Talks is your go-to platform when it comes to looking for speaking gigs all around the world. And if you want to be the early subscribers of Talks, we are giving you a 1 month free subscription, and that means that you can get opportunity to speak all around the world from any country if you subscribe to Talks. Hopefully, and we are going to be unveiling this platform first in history forever, ever on the 30th of March. And guess what? It's a Sunday and it's an afternoon. And so if you are anywhere around the world, you want to be part of this launching in the USA, start paying your flags right now. And let's meet together in Minnesota, even as we unveil Talks as an event. And for those of you who are in Cameroon, Talks is going to be partnering with the Cameroon National Speakers Association for the award ceremony in celebration of the Professional Speakers Celebration Day on the 14th of March, this coming month. And what that means is that 14th of March is a Friday, and this event is going to be happening in Boyer, Cameroon on Saturday, the 15th of March. So if you're in Cameroon right now, or you're in Nigeria, and you want to be part of this event in Cameroon to see how professional speakers are celebrating from this part of the world in Cameroon, I will encourage you to be part of this event because it's going to be a game changer. And so hundreds of people will be traveling from all parts of the country to be part of this event in Boya. So if you know someone in Cameroon, tell the person that, hey, have you heard about the talk, about the launch, about the celebration of the Professional Speakers Celebration Day in Cameroon, happening on the 15th, Saturday, the 15th of March? Tell the person to be there. It is a free event, and all they have to do is to show up. Who knows? Maybe they're among those speakers that the national speaker will be celebrating and awarding them with some meritorious awards that they will keep on in their cupboards, in their desks, in the offices to live to remember the great job they have done to contribute to the speaking industry in Cameroon. And that was it for today. Uh, Thank you so much, and see you on Tuesday. Cheers.